On Friday, we talked about what you can learn from a loss.
Yeah.
What are you going to take away from today?
We just, I felt like we didn't give up, but we didn't play really hard and play our game till a couple minutes in the fourth quarter. But credit to them. Stanford really had us on our heels and hitting shots, making us pay if we don't switch fast. I thought they shot the ball really well, and I felt like in the first half they got any shot they wanted, and then we were shooting like 9% from the three, and we were shooting in the first half like 20-something percent. So it's tough to win games. I felt like we got good looks, but normally the shots that we make they just weren't falling, and it was just brutal.
Talk a little bit about the size they had on area because they were using Lexi Hull or Lexi, I think.
I think they just made her work really hard. They had three people in the paint, and they forced her into shooting a lot of times into Alana Smith's hands, and that they weren't really letting her go around them. They were backing off. I think they defended us really well. They made Ari really work and take tough shots, and they did a really good job against us in transition. We couldn't really get anything going in transition, so. I think a lot of times if you saw other people cutting through the lane, they weren't even looking at her. They were just worried about area coming off stuff. So that's what's going to happen. I mean, she was leading the country in scoring. She's one of the best guards in the country. So there's going to be a lot of tension, but we have to find a way to get two or three more people to score. And we can't just be so stagnant, and we can't take such quick shots when they're not falling. I think playing fast is one thing, but if we're playing fast 10 possessions in a row and don't score, and they're scoring, we're not going to win the game. So I think just finding kind of that second, third, fourth option and consistently, and that's been a struggle for us.
Was there a tag team, you
A
think?
what?
Tightness?
No, I think we just have struggled a little bit more on Sundays. It's not an excuse, but it's just I think just with less bodies today, and I just felt like we didn't have that pep in our step. I think some of that is attributed because we didn't have TT. So TT brings us that spark and that defensive intensity and mentality from the bench. She's usually our sixth or seventh player on the team, and missing her, we did miss her a lot because we didn't have really another guard rotation. So. Coming into season, I thought we were going to have 15. Today we had 9. It's hard. And then, Bryce doesn't have a lot of experience. So we have 9, but 2 players on the bench with no experience. And then, we have, a walk-on. So it's just it's a tough go against number 6 team in the country.
What was your takeaway from Alana Smith's performance?
She's just a really good player. I think she's just steady. To be 8 for 16, 50%, 4 for 6 from 3, 14 rebounds, 20 points, and 7 blocks. The good thing is we didn't give her 14 because she had 7.5. Really good player, and I think she got to do a lot of things she wanted to do. But what I liked about her is, and what I've noticed with how she's grown, she's a lot better inside than she used to be, and she's a lot more consistent outside. So she's improved in both areas. She can score one-on-one on the block, and she can step out and shoot the 3 really efficiently. It's just a really good player, and we couldn't defend her.
Confidence-wise, how do you prepare the team for the Oregon schools coming up?
Going into Oregon, it's really hard. So this was a tough stretch. 4 ranked teams in a row is pretty brutal. Not the ideal schedule I want. But good thing, great win on Friday. So that's a good thing. To split this weekend, I'm not that unsatisfied with. I'm unsatisfied with the way we played going into Oregon, but I'm not. Tara Vanderveer is one of the best coaches in the world. And she always has a game plan. This is not the typical Stanford team, and they're really good. And it's not. She's going to be a lot better next year with the #1 class in the country. So they're tough. They play really well, smart, and they exploit every weakness that you have as a team. It's not ideal to kind of get our butts kicked before going into Oregon, but what are you going to do? This is the Pac-12. You got to have amnesia. We got to move on, but we have to get better in a lot of areas. So we have to get better offensive flow. We have to not only rely on Ari, because there's going to be nights when Ari is going to play like this. But when you're a good team, you find other ways and you step up. So going into Oregon, we just have to play our game. We have to bounce back. We have to get confident again. We have to just make some adjustments to get better, because those are 2 really good teams that play really well at home.
Winning those games against Arizona State and Cal, is there any bloated confidence to have a blowout like this?
No, I think that this is our second time getting blown out. So one is at Utah. This is our first time at home. I thought we usually play better at home. I felt like this was Utah all over again when I'm sitting on the bench, like, don't know what to call because nothing's working. But we just got to get better. This is a tough league. You can't get too high, can't get too low. We played a great game on Friday, and we played like crap today. So what are you going to do? You just got to get better. And I think there's some adjustments I need to make as a coach and do some different things. And it is what it is. We don't know if we'll have TT next week, so we have to find other people to step up. So the good thing about tonight, I guess the bright spot, there wasn't a lot, but one of the bright spots is Samaji got to play more minutes. She played 12, and Bryce got to play some minutes, Lindsay. So at least they're getting some experience, and they get to see what it's like to play against the number 6 team in the country. So that's a good thing. That could help us down the stretch. But we need to compete a little bit more, and I don't care if we're not scoring. You can control your defense always. So I thought that competing, people are going to hit shots. That's going to happen. But I felt like they got shots because of our mental lapses. So not switching on time, not sitting in the paint when someone's stepping out for 3. They're all shooters. Those are the mental lapses we can't have against a great team. We can have that against, outside of the conference. In the conference, you can't have that. So learning lesson. There's a lot of stuff that we can learn off this game from. So I'm upset, yes. But, we just have to get better. And we haven't arrived. We've gotten better. Yes, we're 3-2 in the Pac-12, but we're not ready to be a Pac-12 champion yet. But we're ready to be a lot better and make steps. And, we're not ready to not be undefeated at home. But we will be. But we just saw what it's like against number 6. You cheat. You don't follow a game plan. You don't do the things they pay for it every time. You don't guard someone who's hit 2 threes, they're going to hit a 3rd, 4th, 5th. So that's where we need to be at. And that's where we're going, and it takes time, and it should be a learning lesson.
You had one shot in the first half. How much of that was their defense? How much of that was not her being aggressive?
I think both. I think, that's kind of the story, trying to get her to be more aggressive. I think some of it's defense. People try to be really physical on her. But I felt a couple shots she passed up, especially after she hit a couple. Need her to be more aggressive for sure. And just need to find ways to get her more aggressive. She took 6 shots. She's 3 for 6. I think that's really good, but we need to find a way to probably get her 10 shots. Even Sam Thomas, find a way. Usually 3 for 10. Those floaters, those pull-ups, she usually makes a couple more. So I think everybody making a couple more. Kate's never 1 for 9. But that's what their defense does. Their defense is really good in the half court, and we couldn't get anything in transition. So going against their defense with personnel is going to be very hard for us. They're a hard matchup for us defensively also because they all can shoot it. It makes Kate have to guard on the perimeter. I felt like against Cal it's a little better matchup because we have a post inside. It's just a little different. But, it's going to be like that because we're going to have a pretty tough matchup in a few days from now. Friday and Sunday, it's going to get a little tougher. So you got to do what you got to do, and you got to find a way. But we were really missing TT's intensity and mentality tonight.
Concussion, is that what it is?
It's not a concussion. She's just out. She's just not ready. She has a headache, but it's not a concussion. So hopefully we'll have her back in a couple of days. But there was no need to push it. We only have 10 people now, 9. So I didn't need to chance it.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about how this program has changed with the addition of Ari this season?
Yeah, we've just gotten better. And I knew that was a part. Having her on the bench last year and practicing every day, I knew we were going to get better, so I was optimistic, at least as far as that. I knew we were going to get better, but we're still missing a lot of pieces. We don't have so Ari's dominant guard for sure, but we don't have dominant post play right now, like on the block. We have versatility, and Kate's going to be great. Dominique brings us great experience, and she's an awesome defender in the block. But we don't have. I think we're missing, some aggressive shooters on the perimeter, and I think we're missing a little bit of post presence that can bang with the Niguez, bang with the 6'8". We don't have that size or depth, and Samaji's a freshman, so we're missing some pieces. We got better, but we still need to get better. We have a big class coming in next year too, but right now we're focused on getting this team better and working on our weaknesses. So it was good tonight to have Samaje go against Alana Smith and play different people, and because we need to develop her so she can be that presence we need in a couple of years, because she has potential to be, her and Kate.
Possibly going into the Oregon trip shorthanded, depending on TT's situation. Is there anybody in particular that you want to move up into the rotation, or is it just going to be by committee?
By committee. I think that puts, as a player, it's a great thing when there's a short bench. Notre Dame won with 7 people. UConn plays 7 people. So I don't use that as an excuse. You just find a way. You're tired, but so is everybody else. They play a short bench. They play 7, 8 people a lot of minutes too. So, but I think that the good thing is that other people like Destiny needs to step up. She was in a little bit of foul trouble tonight, but she gives us that experience from the bench. She's the only experience from the bench. And then Samaje, it's going to give her an opportunity to play more minutes. It's going to give Bryce an opportunity. So these are opportunities to take advantage of. That's the good thing. The tough thing is we have tough matchups, and we're going to have tough matchups inside against, in every position probably, against Oregon and Oregon State. Oregon State has 3, 6, 8 kids, so we're going to have slightly. But then we should take advantage in transition. That's what I felt. I felt tonight, they had an advantage on the perimeter, but I felt like we had an advantage defensively in transition, but we just could never do that. So we weren't defending like we normally do until about 2 or 3 minutes in the fourth quarter. We did. And then we moved the ball, got open shots. We weren't doing that the whole first half. So that's what I'm disappointed with, because when we play good, we do that. But, we also need to finish better inside. We need to go through contact. We need to do those things, and we're going to have to. Right now, we don't have that dominant presence inside. Right now, we have dominant guard play at times, but we don't have that consistency in that second, third, fourth person, and we need that because we can't look on the stat sheet every day and Ari has 30 or 40, and no one else can score or get going because we're not going to win like that. So that's just something we have to adjust and get better at and learn how to do. Because we can't rely on Ari having 30 points a game. It's just not realistic, and it's not how you're going to win long term. You'll win some games, but you won't win long term.
Curious, is a coach like Tara Vanderveer, does she talk to you at all about what you're doing, how you're building the program? Did she say anything to you today?
Yes, I've known Tara obviously a long time. Coach Vanderveer was a coach at Stanford when I was playing, so she always jokes around with me about stuff, but she's very supportive. When I first got the job, offered if I ever need anything to give her a call. She's very supportive of women and former players coaching, and that's what I love about her. And she's obviously not threatened by anything, so she'll help with whatever. She's already got her thing going for a long time, so we all aspire to be like her. So for me, just talking about the changes in the program, I'm proud of, she jokes and says, I'll cheer for you every other game but this one, So I love what she's done with her program. It's legendary. She's one of the best at making in-game adjustments, and so I can call her for anything. She's also gave me some constructive advice over the last couple of years, and I like that. She's honest, and, she's a pioneer in this business, so. She's someone you just respect and you hate to play against all the time, but and they're just always good. I just don't know. They get big players that are always good and they can shoot the ball. I don't know where she finds them, but she does, and they're always really smart too. So she's got a lot going. But no, she does a good job, a great program, and it's where this program wants to be, to be able to be successful. Not only 1 year, but to have success and sustain it. That's one of the hardest things. It's okay. It's good. You can be good 1 year and not good for 4 years, but to be on the top since I played, it's just pretty remarkable. And I think for us, like my college career, we won one time against Stanford, and that was on a Risha Bristol prayer shot, and we won, and we celebrated like we won the championship because we felt like we did. But what I can also say about the Pac-12 is that years ago it was just Stanford. And I think now Stanford doesn't take anybody lightly. It's not just Stanford winning the championships every year. And I like that about women's basketball because on any given night, anybody can win, whether ranked or not. And I like that. I like there's parity in the league, and that's the kind of league you want. So it's really good for women's basketball.
Can you share a piece of that constructive advice, if not specifically?
I don't remember. It was just a couple of advice, and because I would ask questions about, because your first year is really hard. And then she's always, hang in there, because you always talk to her at head coaches meetings and stuff. So it's always advice complimentary about what we're doing with the program, because she follows women's basketball. And, her and her staff have always been great. So
I just talked to her, and she said exactly the same thing about your program.
Yeah.
Very complimentary. But she also said Donald, they decided to guard her by committee. Is that what you saw out there?
Yes.
Kind of everybody.
Everybody was in paint. She was, they had hands on balls. She couldn't barely turn the corner. When she did, she had to go right, go left, go right, and get through sometimes. But a lot of the shots she misses, she usually makes. I'd say there's probably 6 or 7 shots that she usually finishes on. But she had to work really hard. 6 for 22. Usually she's more efficient, but I felt like she worked really, really hard for every basket. And that wears on you. You got to play defense against Kiana Williams, who's a really good player, and then you got to go score, and you're working really hard. Then it's 5 people getting blocked. I think it was hard, and they congested the paint, made us shoot, and we couldn't hit shots. And they had 3, so we're not getting stops. Then we're taking quick shots because they're shots we normally make because we're running, And so that was like, I didn't like how quick we were trying to play. And they were getting us in transition because we were taking such quick shots. And quick shots, unorganized offense, leads to a disaster on defense. So when you have an organized offense and you know when the shots are coming, you're organized in transition defense. Well, we were taking haphazard shots, and then it's transition buckets. And usually we're the good transition team, but tonight we weren't.
How would you categorize how you're trying to manage her minutes?
Well, I mean, tonight she played 32 minutes. That's low for her. You know, she's usually like 35, 36. But it's hard to take her off the floor. You know, so that's what my goal is later too. Is that we need more depth, so I can rest Lucia for a couple minutes. She's hard to take off the floor. I can rest Ari for a couple minutes, but we don't have another point guard. So if Ari's out, Lucia has to be in. So I can't rest Ari and Lucia at the same time. We don't have another point guard, and that's what hurt us. You know, that just hurt us a little bit. So ideally, I think about 30, 32 minutes is ideal, because I can't ask Gary for 37 minutes a game to be the, guard one of their best guards and score 30 points and find, it's just it's really hard. So finding a way to manage that, give her some minutes here and there is ideal, but it's just hard to do with our personnel right now. Like, it's hard to have Dominique off the floor too, because I don't want to play Samaje and Kate. They're both freshmen. So Dominique, I always try to put Dominique with Kate, or Samaje with Kate, and then Destiny with Samaje, or Destiny with Kate for experience. It's just a little bit easier so they're not lost, because they're freshmen, and so they make freshman mistakes. So that's kind of a challenge too. So not having depth is a little bit of a challenge. It's not an excuse, because for players, they should be happy because they get to play. You can make mistakes and play. We don't have a lot of depth, but I think rotation-wise and when we're not playing well, it's a challenge.